The price of Bitcoin has been exploding recently. You've probably noticed. It's been a pretty exciting few days as a cryptocurrency investor. Altcoins also been putting in some great performance over the last few days. But as cryptocurrency investors, there are some really big things happening out there in the global economy that we really need to be paying attention to that could have a serious impact on the cryptocurrency markets. So I'm going to be discussing that with you in today's video, as well as taking a look at some of the charts that you need to be aware of as a cryptocurrency investor. My name's Lark. Every day I make videos talking about cryptocurrency investing. If you do like that topic, you do like staying up to date with what's happening in the cryptocurrency space, a little tap on the thumbs up button would be supremely freaking awesome. Now let's go ahead and get into the charts. So Bitcoin came up, tapped the 200-day simple moving average 2 days in a row. First day, of course, perfectly nailing it. Second day, not quite getting there, but almost getting there. So we are seeing a bit of steam running out on Bitcoin here in this area of course, price resistance from all the way back in the day here. 200-day moving average acting as an area where people are taking profits. We're seeing strong selling pressure coming in that area. Now we did see, of course, similar looking candles at the tops of runs recently where we saw these big upper wicks, price being pushed down as sellers step in a big way to, of course, take some profits after the big pump. Now that leaves me thinking, I wonder if we're going to see something kind of like this happen, where we see the price of Bitcoin maybe come back down to around $45,000 over the next few days, retest this previous area of price resistance, flipping it into support before pushing higher, reclaiming the 200-day simple moving average, pushing past this area of resistance right here in the purple box. That would be very nice to see. If we don't manage to hold that, of course we do get that price retracement. If we don't manage to hold $45,000, $42,500 would be the next really key area to be watching here for Bitcoin. But man, I really want to see us retaking that 200-day simple moving average. That would just be like the switch in my mind, where the market's getting bullish again. The bears are back in the driver's seat. The bulls are back in the driving seat. The bears are hibernating again. I'd really like to see that, obviously. Once we do reclaim that 200-day simple moving average, I think it's time to start looking into altcoins in a more serious way. I have been buying some altcoins throughout all of this madness here, mostly Bitcoin. Most of the money's gone into Bitcoin. During this time, a bit of money gone into Ethereum, some money into altcoins, but I think I will deploy a good percent of my stablecoin stash into altcoins if we reclaim that 200-day simple moving average. It could really be the next indicator to say that, yep, we're getting ready for it, guys. It's going to be exciting times again in the markets. Some interesting charts here to share with you as well. This one from the guys over at Glassnode. So you can see here's the Bitcoin short-term holder NUPL, the NUPL. So this chart basically showing that short-term holder capitulation is over. Unrealized profits show hope as Bitcoin closes the week above $46,000. So you can see we had our capitulation back here for our short-term holders. Ever since then, short-term holder numbers have been going up, which is a bullish sign to see. Also, this chart here, this is the Bitcoin supply last active over a year ago. You can see that just there. Pop my head down here for a second. So, as Dylan points out, Bitcoin is trading at $48,000, and throughout its entire history, there has only been one other time that the percentage of supply that hadn't moved in over a year was at this level. When was that time? September 2020, right here. So you can see we are at the kind of levels that generally come before a massive price rally. Look here. We had massive price rally. Look here, massive price rally. In fact, this is a very similar rate right back here, which led us into new all-time highs for Bitcoin. So really, ever since the start of 2021, we've had a sell-off basically happening, a transfer of Bitcoin from, the strong hands, or from the weak hands to the strong hands. Very, very interesting to see that happening. This could be the start of a new major cycle, or at least we're moving in that direction, it would seem. So that's a pretty exciting chart if you ask me. Now, one other I want to share with you here is the good old-fashioned Wall Street cheat sheet. So this is the psychology of a market cycle. So as you can see, we go through these cycles where everybody's, in the I'm a genius, we're all going to be rich. Long the longs at the top, right? Put all your money in, remortgage your house. And then this comes in. Oh, we just need to cool off for the next rally. Why am I getting margin calls? My investments are with great companies. They're all going to come back. Oh my gosh, everyone's selling. Why didn't the government do something? How'd they allow this to happen? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We could have already gone through all of this. I mean, look at the chart. Look here. Think about whether or not you see something like that having played out. In fact, we could probably see we had a similar situation, not quite the parabolic blow off top, nor the horrific capitulation necessarily, but these kind of cycles, big euphoria phase, big depression phase, big euphoria phase, big depression phase, which we're currently in right now. So we could be back to our disbelief phase. And look, this entire market rally for Bitcoin's been pretty interesting because at no point have we had a true parabolic blow off top. We have these nice rounded tops, nice rounded bottoms. We all like rounded bottoms, of course, and then the price going back up. So we could be back to that disbelief phase, getting ready for our next rally, our next move up. We could be in that disbelief phase where everyone's like, it's a sucker's rally, it's going to fail just like all the others. And then this happens. So we shall, of course, see how we go here over the next few weeks. By the way, if you are a cryptocurrency trader, you need yourself an account over on BYBIT. You can long and short a wide variety of cryptocurrencies from all the top favorites like Bitcoin and Ethereum right down to a great range of altcoins. They also have exotic altcoins on their spot markets, great coins like Gensu Kishi, which is a gaming coin we've talked about on here before. Lots of other cool stuff as well. Over on BYBIT, you can use the link down below and you're going to get 30% off of your trading fees and up to $4,100 in trading bonuses. Nice. So go ahead and check that out using the link down below if you are an experienced trader. Now, before I get into the nasty news, the risks remaining in the market, I just want to point out real quick, our old buddies over at MicroStrategy took out a loan using their Bitcoin. So it's a Bitcoin-backed loan, using that to buy more Bitcoin. In fact, $205 million more worth of Bitcoin. Those guys are addicted to stacking sats over at MicroStrategy. The level of conviction that Michael Saylor's showing is incredible. They just keep buying Bitcoin. It's nuts, man. It's absolutely freaking nuts. Speaking of people who keep buying Bitcoin, well, it's actually slowed down for the past couple of days. This is the Bitcoin address for the Terra Luna wallet. The guys who have committed to buying $3 billion worth of Bitcoin short term, $10 billion worth of Bitcoin in the long term to back the UST stablecoin. Well, we can see the first $1 billion plus of purchases have indeed happened. So we had $1.15 billion worth of Bitcoin purchases going in here, currently worth $1.3 billion. So in total, they have 27,784 Bitcoin. Buying has slowed down over the last day or two. Hopefully we see some new buys coming in here in the near future. That would be pretty gosh darn cool. They still have $2 billion greenlit to buy Bitcoin with. Maybe they're waiting for the market to cool down a little bit so that they're not buying the hype of their own purchases. That would make sense, to be honest. But we still have another $2 billion of Bitcoin that Terra will be buying that they've been greenlit for initially. Another $7 billion beyond that they are intending to buy. So pretty big news. Now, all that fun stuff being said, all the bullishness, we just have to keep in mind risks do remain in the market. So Russia-Ukraine conflict, it's not finished yet. Russia still carrying out lots of military actions inside of Ukraine. So there's a lot of just unexpected consequences that can come out for this. Now look, a lot of the economic sanctions, basically the West has shot all their bullets, so to speak, in terms of putting sanctions on Russia. They still want to buy their oil. They still want to buy their gas. They're still buying oil and gas from Russia every single day. They don't want to cut off their own noses to spite their face, so to speak, when it comes to that. So they've done what they can, I think, economically there. But look, there's still a lot of room for chaos. When you have a conflict going on like this with, being backed by Western powers against an Eastern nuclear power, lots of crazy stuff can happen. So this is a wild card in all of our calculations right now. What can happen to the oil markets? What can happen, to people's lives and all this stuff beyond the borders of Ukraine? Obviously, within Ukraine, a continuing crisis of terrifying proportions. So that is a wild card right now, I think, in our macro perspective for what is happening. I really want to see this ending soon, not just for my portfolio because of the human cost. It's absolutely horrific what's going on there. I want all my friends and family in Ukraine, in Russia, to be safe. So hopefully we see this ending sooner than later. So that's that. Now, what about a recession? It's a good time for a recession, guys. Oh yeah. Well, it seems like we could be in for a new recession for the U.S. economy, which of course is the global powerhouse. So what happens in the U.S. when the U.S. catches a cold, everyone else tends to get it as well. Raoul Pal here pointing out, while we're all politely chatting about inflation and the end of the world, the 2 and 10 year swaps curve just went negative, equaling 100% chance of a recession, equaling 100% chance of stimulus. Yes. You see, this is the thing. It's all broken. The markets are broken. It's all a joke these days. Money's a joke. Economics are a joke. There will be a recession. And in response to that recession, we're going to have more money printing, more stimulus, more checks given out to people. It's going to happen. As he says here, you want to be short growth? Well, you're too late for that. So all your growth stocks, your crypto, right? Crypto trades like growth stocks do, particularly when it comes to tech stocks, right? We have a very high correlation with those kind of things. So when we see the stimulus money coming in, which will come, recession's going to come, politicians want to get reelected, they just start giving free money to people. You guys know how it works. Inflation will keep rising. All the madness will keep going on. But we're going to get that stimulus. The recession will come. It will scare people. It will have, obviously, economic impacts. But the stimulus will probably be the answer to that because it's been the answer for the last more than decade and a half, 2 decades, whatever. They keep printing money. They keep doing stimulus. They keep helicopter money to people. So I would expect more of the same. I agree with Raul's sentiment here that we could see that coming. When that comes, obviously we need to get the pain first for them to justify, well, don't worry guys, we're gonna come in and give everybody free money again. And last but not least, today, of course, we have to talk about the Federal Reserve interest rate hikes. Now, usually, as we've talked about before, when the Fed raises interest rates short term, that leads to actually a correction in the equity markets, a correction in the equity markets, likely to lead to some kind of a correction in the cryptocurrency markets. I mean, what happens when Terra stops buying Bitcoin? Will that dry up the buying pressure, or will we find momentum actually moving past that? Remains to be seen. But if we look at our correlation, which has been very strong to the equity markets, often we see this kind of correction coming in shortly after the Fed raises interest rates. But you have to keep in mind, they've only raised interest rates so far 0.25%. Inflation, 7.9%. That means that the real negative rates that people are experiencing right now, 7.65%, which is absolutely freaking whacked. Even if they raise interest rates up to 2 or 3%, we're still looking at real negative rates of 3 or 4%, 5% even. And inflation hasn't stopped going up. Just because they've raised the interest rates to a whopping 0.25% doesn't mean that inflation is not going to be higher this month and higher next month and higher the month after that. The inflationary forces at work in the world are still there. So a translation for what all of that means, you need to make a heck of a lot of money every year just to beat inflation, right? So you need to be beating that 7.9% number. It's a big ask. You know what beats inflation? Bitcoin. You know what has a good chance of beating inflation also? Altcoins. Some of them, of course, will underperform. That's higher risk stuff, right? Tech stocks also have a great chance of outpacing that. But Bitcoin, man, year over year, it just keeps going up. Fiat just keeps going down. It's really that simple. I've got a great video coming for you guys on inflation soon, so make sure to keep an eye out for that when I drop it in a few days. But yeah, long story short, risks remain in the market, so be prudent. Thanks so much for watching today's video, and peace out till next time.